Real life street stars. You know what time it is.
I know you spoke on it last time, but finally I got to get your take as far as where this may go regarding Tory Lanez getting transferred to another penitentiary now. And I forget the reporter who is now vying for his freedom based on the congresswoman who is fighting for his freedom now based on circumstantial evidence that was secluded, things of that nature. And Megan's lawyers have put out additional, like, hey, let me remind y'all, like Tory technically, not saying he confessed, but his conversation was more so that he was heavily involved. Do you see the Tory Lanez case going anywhere based on now that we have him being moved? We have this congresswoman fighting for him. Do you see anything changing with this thing over here?
So moving was probably more based on his safety.
Yes.
More than anything else. So it really doesn't have anything to do with the actual trial. The congressional person or individual who is vying for potentially a new trial, that could move the needle. But they're going to need the evidence and solid evidence to present to a judge to say that they need a new trial. And that's going to, in that the prosecution withheld evidence or his attorney failed to present that evidence that should have been presented. And so those things are going to need to be shown in order to really get him a shot at having a new trial.
So it'll be a new trial versus like dismissal of charges?
Potentially, okay. Yes.
Okay. With that being said, Larry, thank you so much again. Oh.
One more, Larry.
Oh yeah, we got
one more. The inmates that escaped Louisiana.
Yeah.
We got 5 left.
Louisiana 10.
Right.
That's not really.
I know.
So when they get caught, what happens to them? Where you hear that from? Nah. That's
not
real news.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to face new charges.
Yeah. So what charge does that carry when I escape from prison?
I can answer. I spoke to a prisoner about this, and they said normally they'll throw you automatically 15 additional years or whatever charge you have. So to attempt to escape, no matter if you had 3 to 10, 5 to 10, life, they'll just throw 15 more on top of that because that deters anyone trying to escape. So mandatory, and again, this is Louisiana, they're supposed to throw you 15 additional years for the attempt.
Louisiana is very different.
Right.
I think they are one of the only states that still goes by the original penal code. And so
original penal code is wild.
Yeah, that like they if I'm not mistaken, they're one of the states that really use some older, more archaic penal code. And so, and don't quote me on that. I'll take a look at it next time I'm on here. I'll look, but if I'm not mistaken, that is so. And so I can't really say as to what they may be looking at, but Joker is correct. Generally, that length of time sounds correct, but also it's almost impossible to throw on that much time without having another trial, because you got to remember, and what they need to remember is probably when all you guys were extremely young. Remember the Texas 8, I think it was 8.
Texas 7.
Texas 7. And they ended up killing that security guard.
Right, yep.
That case was retried. Right. I mean, not retried, but it had to be tried, right? All the elements of that had to be tried.
Some of them got put to death because of that.
And so if I'm not mistaken, Joker, I don't see them, even in Louisiana, just able to just throw a couple of years on there like that without first going to a jury of their peers and convicting them of that new crime, because it's a new crime. And so back to the Texas 7, those individuals who are harboring and assisting in this have to be very concerned that if any of these individuals do commit murder while you are assisting them, you could also be complicit in charge also. So you have to, that's one of the dangers. But I think that that whole situation is extremely interesting, from cutting off the water to breaking through the wall and having so many people involved, right? Like, how do you have 10 people involved in something like this and no one said anything that leaked out to the guards?
The guards are involved.
Says a lot about your prison.
Well, it's a county jail. So
No, it's prison.
it's not really prison. It's a jail.
Bro, how's 5 murderers there if it's county jail?
Yeah, they're facing murder. They're facing murder.
You don't think that? But anyway, you've dealt with a lot of criminals in your time. What kind of person, besides a lifer, because there was more than just lifers among them, what kind of person would try to escape jail? Like, what in your honest opinion, like, what kind of psyche does that take to be like, when you deal with somebody and they're like, oh, they broke out of jail?
It's funny you should say that. So my minor in college, I was a psych pre-med major.
Right.
And so I actually did a paper on the mental state of those who are more susceptible to commit crimes. And part of that is that thrill seeking. And so a lot of times people are adrenaline junkies, right, in a sense, and they like that excitement. Because when you commit a crime, it doesn't stop when you commit it. Right. It's ongoing. You know why? Because it's always the fear of getting caught.
Right. And that does something to your psyche. Yeah. I like it. I like being on the run. Let's do this.
I like walking out the house and looking behind the bushes and looking and watching the cars to see if it's an unmarked police car, or, do I live in a black neighborhood and all of a sudden it's 5 white guys just walking the street? Like, that ain't right.
Right. Because there's people taking bets on who's going to get caught next and everything. I'm sure the prisoners in there rooting, let's go, don't come back.
I want root to the back.
I didn't take a bet. But if I was going to bet, it would be the Derek guy. He will be the last to get caught. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, he's definitely going to be the last guy. Because it was so hard for them to catch him. Go watch the documentary. It's really good.
It's one of the smartest ones. They got 5 left. There's a $20,000 reward.
Oh yeah. Do you really get that money? Is that a real thing? Because I've heard people say they're not going to really give you that money.
I think they have a hard time not giving you that money. I've never told on anyone to receive dollars, so I don't know firsthand.
They said they might give you like $3,000.
No, I mean they might take out taxes. I don't know. They might treat it like a bingo hall, right? When you win $1,000 at a bingo hall, you never walk out with that 1,000. They take out the taxes right off the bat, and so shout out to the ex and her mom who used to take me to the bingo halls in Dallas. But there's no reason for them not to pay you that money. Especially, the problem is, I'm not going to say any names, but sometimes when you have haters and detractors who are always trying to snitch on you and get you in trouble, right, and looking for money, yeah, you might have told someone, but you might have been the 30th person that told it. Right. And so just because they ended up getting caught and you told it doesn't mean that it was your evidence or your tip that actually got them arrested.
You can just say that though. Like, police could just be like, yeah, we got that from someone else. You just kind of double down.
No, I really doubt that they do that, because the problem that you have is people like me. So if you have told and have not gotten your money and it was a substantial amount, give me a call, because I would love I would just I just love questioning law enforcement. And so I just love digging into what they did, how the process works, and going through their process. I can't do it in Dallas County. I'm prohibited right now from doing anything in that nature in Dallas.
Next time I get pulled over, I'm gonna put Larry on FaceTime. You know this guy?
Dude, you will be surprised how last year I probably received 7 calls from former clients who got pulled over by the police and put me on FaceTime.
And what happens when they put you on FaceTime?
I usually end up talking to the officer and it's like, hey, officer, I do represent them. I give them my bar number. You can look me up. Are you taking them down? If you are, we just go through the process. And a lot of times, once we go through that process, they let my people go.
Isn't it? Oh, yeah.
Except for the one time, officer said, shit, you again? Nah.
Represent him too?